Cleveland swore it wanted a quarterback who could steady the chaos. Then a rookie walked in, stared down the moment, and made the game slow for everyone but him. One calm cadence at a time. One rip through a tight window. One, "Oh, he's not rattled at all," series after another. And just like that, a city that's seen every flavor of false hope felt something different. Composure. Not the kind you fake in August, the kind you recognize immediately because it doesn't blink when the pocket tilts sideways. That should have been the beginning of a love story. Instead, the celebration got stuck in someone's throat. The praise felt rationed. The depth chart didn't move. And while the clips ricocheted across timelines, the building got quieter, not louder. You could hear the questions forming in the pauses after the pressers. If a kid shows you the poise you've begged for, why is the reward a smaller slice of opportunity? If the tape says, "Let him climb," why does the ladder suddenly disappear? Fans don't miss this stuff. They can smell politics through drywall. They can tell when a staff is protecting a plan, not a player. And they know the difference between development and delay. So now the city sits with the two competing truths in both hands. The eye test that says he's got it, and the organizational body language that says, "Not yet." Somewhere in the space between those truths, rumors found oxygen. Trade talk whispers, ownership fingerprints, and a Hall of Famer basically asking the same question out loud. Are you coaching what he can't do or scheming up what he can? That's the tension. That's the fuse. And if you paid attention to how this league treats young black quarterbacks when politics get tight, you know exactly why this story hits nerves far beyond Cleveland. But that was just the beginning. Start here. A rookie quarterback walks into Charlotte with nothing promised and leaves with the city arguing about ceilings. Shedeur Sanders didn't nibble at the moment. He seized it, balled out on time, eyes calm, feet quiet. He ripped through his first NFL preseason action against Carolina and made veteran throws without veteran help. The box score told one story: 14 of 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the tape told a bigger one: command. He didn't flinch when pressure flashed. He layered touch when the defenders squeezed windows. And every snap said the same thing: this stage isn't too big. Numbers don't trend alone. They travel with an echo. Nielsen's echo is loud. More than 2 million people watched that opener, flirting with an NFL Network high watermark, and the social clips did the rest. That matters because coaches love to say August means nothing. Owners and fan bases don't always agree when the kid looks this steady this early. Hype can be empty, but Shedeur's hype has fuel. Even the head coach, who never wants to oversell a rookie, had to tip the cap. Kevin Stefanski called Shedeur pleasing, emphasized the teaching points, and walked the tightrope between praise and program. Translation? He saw what you saw, but he's guarding the plan. That's fair. Development should be deliberate. Still, when your fifth rounder looks like that with his first live bullets, the conversation shifts from if to how fast. Context sweetens the case. He wasn't riding with the full first-team cast. He was stitching drives with rotating personnel, learning names in the huddle, earning trust on the fly, and he still stacked points. That's why the eye test hits harder than the stat line. It wasn't just production, it was poise. The kind quarterbacks carry into November. The kind organizations are supposed to reward by nudging the depth chart, even if it's only a click. And that's where the friction began to hum, because the climb didn't come next. Listen to the language. The head coach never slammed the door but didn't swing it open either. After that debut, Kevin Stefanski praised the poise, nodded to the teaching tape, and then deliberately sidestepped any talk of reordering quarterbacks. That restraint matters. In a room with veterans, injuries, and a rookie who just popped, choosing not to entertain a depth chart debate is itself a decision. It says trust the plan, not the moment, even when the moment just electrified the building. Then the calendar did what the calendar always does in August. It pushed hesitation. An oblique strain clipped Shedeur's runway right when he earned a longer role. Day-to-day and unlikely to play against Philadelphia this Saturday. No practice the next day. Those aren't catastrophic words, but they're momentum killers for a young quarterback who needs reps more than rhetoric. Obliques are the enemy of torque and timing. For a thrower, every twist is a reminder you're not back. Losing even one preseason game of snaps can turn building a case into waiting your turn. Meanwhile, the paper reality didn't budge. Cleveland's listed depth chart kept Shedeur fourth, Joe Flacco on the pole, Kenny Pickett next, and Dylan Gabriel head with Sanders behind. So the optics turned tricky. The tape says Shedeur earned another look. The injury says, not this week. And the organization's body language is controlled, careful, insisting on process, says, wait. Fans can live with development. They revoke that delay that looks avoidable. Which is why the next decision isn't just about who takes Saturday's snaps, it's about whether Cleveland awards performance or protects a plan. And what happened next shocked everyone. Here's the hard math no one likes to say out loud. In August, the depth chart isn't a list, it's a clock. First string owns the calendar. Second string rents what's left. Third string scavenges scraps. Fourth string eats after lights out. That's why the situation sparks so much heat. You can sell to a fan base. You can't sell them a stopwatch that never starts. After a poised debut, he didn't need a coronation. He needed a pathway, clear, visible, time-boxed. Something as small as the first script with the twos or one red zone period with the ones. Instead, the pecking order stayed rigid while the public temperature rose. They want quarterback rooms are polite in interviews and ruthless in reality. Veterans lobby with efficiency. Coaches speak in code about operation and command. Reps become currency, and the house decides the exchange rate. If you're a fourth, you can ball out and still spend 3 periods watching the back of a helmet. That's not sabotage, that's structure. But structure without flexibility suffocates development. A rookie's arc depends less on his talent than when and where that talent is allowed to breathe. Clip the oxygen, and you create the very outcome you'll later point to as the proof that he wasn't ready. That's the optics problem in Cleveland. The city saw a kid carry himself like Sunday while the organization treated him like Wednesday. Fans can accept guardrails. They revolt at velvet ropes, because velvet ropes feels political, protecting a plan rather than rewarding performance. Keep that rope up long enough, and the story mutates from earn it to they won't let him. And once that narrative catches wind, every snap he doesn't take becomes Exhibit A, which is exactly when fate tossed in one more obstacle he didn't need. The cruelest injuries don't roar, they whisper. An oblique doesn't put you in a boot or a sling. It steals torque and silence. Quarterbacks live in rotation with their hips. Core transport powers, shoulders finish. The oblique is that hinge. When it's angry, every throw becomes a negotiation between pain and velocity. You can gut through a calf, you can tape a finger, you cannot bargain with the muscle that punishes every follow-through.
Day-to-day oblique sounds soft, but plays hard. It doesn't just sting, it changes decisions. It turns "let's push the ladder" into "let's protect the investment." And the calendar has no sympathy. August is install timing and trust. It's the language of your off-season getting tattooed into muscle memory. Miss a few practices and you don't just lose reps, you lose the rhythm of operation, the huddle pattern, the protection checks, the cadence chemistry with receivers who barely know your eyes yet. Every day you sit, someone else takes those reps, and football is unapologetic about availability. Coaches don't say it out loud, but the axiom never changes. Dependable beats exciting if exciting can't take the field on Wednesday. So the optics went sideways. After a composed debut, fans expected the logical next step. One period with the twos, a scripted drive with the ones, something. Instead, a tight core muscle and a conservative plan pressed pause. To the training staff, that's responsible. To a hungry city, it felt like a delay disguised as caution. And when the head coach's language stays guarded, we'll see. Teaching tape, long season. Silence becomes a canvas. People paint motives on it. Politics, power, punishment. Sometimes it's just the body saying, not today. But narratives don't wait for MRIs to clear. There's another layer to the frustration. Black quarterbacks know the short leash history. The way an inopportune tweet can mutate into a longer wait than tape justifies. That doesn't mean there's malice here. It means there's context that fans bring to the conversation. Fair or not, every misrep gets tallied in that ledger. And while Shedeur nursed the muscle that refuses to be rushed, the league rumor mill did what it always does when talent stalls for a week. It started with hopping for landing spots and connecting dots that may or may not exist, which is how one particular theory out to the west began to catch fire. Follow the fingerprints. When a rookie flashes, the next question isn't just, what's his ceiling? It's, who's championing him in the building? That's where the Cleveland story gets spicy. Fans started whispering that Shedeur wasn't a coach's pick at all, that his path to Cleveland ran through the GM's office. That's a loaded narrative in any city. But in a place with scar tissue from past power plays, it hits different. Because if the quarterback arrived with top-down momentum, every cautious decision from the sideline can look like pushback, not prudence. Now, inside football, this is how turf wars start without anyone saying a word. Scouts swear by their grades, coaches swear by their installs, owners swear by what sells hope. If those three roads don't merge, the player becomes the intersection. You can feel that tension in the air around Shedeur. The tape says invest, the schedule says slow walk. The building says it depends on who you ask. And here's the uncomfortable layer. Black quarterbacks have often been cast as somebody else's bet. The owner's guy, the marketing pick, anything but a coach's conviction. Whether fair or not, that label shadows opportunity. If it sticks, even a calm debut can get treated like noise. But this is where the plot veers west. Start with the obvious. Los Angeles loves a star, and Sean McVay loves a quarterback he can sculpt. That's why the Rams sit at the center of every Shedeur whisper. Not because a deal is imminent, but because the fit is cinematic. McVay's offense is a teacher's clinic. Reads, motion tells, answers built into the grass. Give a poised rookie that toolbox, and he doesn't survive, he accelerates. Then there's the health map. When Matthew Stafford's back becomes a weekly weather report, contingency plans stop being a luxury and start being oxygen. LA has weapons, structure, and a city that rewards bold bets. What it doesn't always have is patience for a season hanging on a hinge.
That's how talk shows become trade machines. One viral segment, one what if, and suddenly the league is gaming out pick swaps and conditional sweeteners like his March. Would Cleveland answer? That's the real tension. Move him now, and you might watch him bloom on primetime under palm trees in a scheme that makes young quarterbacks look older. Hold him, and you risk wasting the window when his value is fueled by fresh tape and fevered buzz. It's tempting, it's risky, and it's not the only storyline gaining steam. Let's be honest, real trade requests don't start on Twitter. They start on quiet phone lines where agents talk in probabilities and GMs talk ranges. What we've got here is oxygen without a confirmed spark. No on-record demand from Shedeur, no press conference fireworks, just whispers, hypotheticals, and the league's favorite parlor game. If X is true, who calls first? That game is relentless in August because time is leverage. Miss a week with an oblique, and you become a chess piece. A team checks in, a host floats a framework, an insider says the market is monitoring. Translation: interest exists in theory, not in ink. And yet, whispers matter. They shape behavior. If the building senses outside eyes on your rookie, reps can become either showcase or shield. Showcase says, see, he's ready, pay the price. Shield says, we like him, don't ask again. Both are politics by another name. Meanwhile, fans hear the hum and assume fire. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're listening to two front offices bluff each other through the media. Either way, Cleveland sits at the intersection of patience and profit. Hold him in down development, move him, and risk the palm tree highlight reel proving you're wrong by Halloween. The rumor mill can't make this choice. The Browns have to. This is the part that makes people uncomfortable, which is precisely why it matters and why I'm going to talk about it. Black quarterbacks don't live in a vacuum. They live in a ledger. Shorter leashes, coded critiques, and a century of evaluators confusing style with risk. Nobody's accusing the Browns of malice, we're just naming the context fans bring to every pause after a promising debut. When the praise feels rationed, when the ladder doesn't lower a rung, when the word patience gets louder than the tape, that history climbs into the conversation uninvited. So listen to the vocabulary that follows black quarterbacks around the league. Projection, operator, can he play on a schedule, is football language, sure, but it's also used to downshift momentum without admitting it. That's why a calm, composed preseason performance should have earned Shedeur something tangible. One series with the twos, a red zone script with the ones, and a definable next step. Not a crown, a crumb. Absent that, narratives rush in. Owners pick the market and play. Protect the vets, maybe none of it's true. But optics are outcomes in the NFL. If Cleveland wants the room quiet, the fix isn't a quote, it's a rep chart. Because the next 10 days will say more about the Browns' intent than the last 10 sound bites ever could. So cutdowns don't wait for feelings. They measure conviction. Cleveland has 3 options, and each writes a different headline. Option 1, elevate the reps as soon as the oblique allows, even if it's just scripted periods. That signals belief without blowing up the plan. Option 2, showcase them. Let the tape breathe for a quarter and quietly invite bidders. That's gutsy, and it dares the room to match the market. Option 3, slow roll it. Keep the ladder high and bet that a quiet year builds a better 2026. That's the safest plan until Shedeur blooms somewhere else. This isn't just about a rookie's patience, it's about the message the franchise sends to its locker room and its city. To ownership, it's a test of alignment. To the GM, it's asset management with a human face. To the head coach, it's whether the process can flex when the tape asks it to. And to Shedeur Sanders, it's the oldest question in this league. Will the building meet the moment the way you just did? So pick a side, Cleveland, reward the performance, trade the promise, or press pause and own it. What would you do? And if you're wrong, how long will it take before the whole league season is on prime time? This is the Who HQ. Thank you for watching, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you soon with more NFL updates.